Coimbatore today, starting off my leg of the AJAI Bharat Drive in association with Mahindra and AJAI Tires. And you would think in May in Coimbatore would be sunny, hot, sultry, but it's turned out to be the exact opposite. It's raining cats and dogs. So we really can't shoot much. What are we doing then? Well, we've come to one of my favorite places to eat in Coimbatore. This is the Naidu Military Hotel. They do an excellent biryani. They do some excellent non-veg food. They also do some vegetarian stuff. And yes, we'll be driving today towards Munnar. But before that, we're going to get our stomachs full with some exquisite Coimbatorian food, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So after a pretty hefty meal at Coimbatore, we are headed towards Munnar, and I thought maybe getting out of town from Coimbatore, driving down a bit, we would get clearer skies, but that it seems is not going to be the case today. We're getting unrelenting rain. It's been pretty heavy in parts, and the interesting part here is that we are about to enter into the Annamalai Tiger Reserve. It'll be curvy roads, narrow roads, and ghat sections climbing up to Munnar. So it's going to be a pretty challenging drive with the dark just about to set in and the rain continuing. It'll be a good test for us to see how the Scorpio N behaves in this case. I'm driving the petrol automatic rear wheel drive, so that'll be good to see how the dynamics are. More importantly, we'll also get to see the wet weather capabilities of the JK Tire Ranger series of tires that the Scorpios are riding on. So goodbye for today. I'll give you more updates on the Bharat Drive tomorrow. Welcome to AJAI's Bharat Drive initiative. What is this drive all about? What are we doing? Well, I'm going to tell you all about it over the next few minutes. So what is AJAI all about and what is the Bharat Drive all about? Well, AJAI is the newly formed Automotive Journalists Association of India. It's a novel initiative which is undertaking the Bharat Drive in association with Mahindra and JK Tires to encourage young journalists, to help journalists to create more opportunities for them. So that could be a really good thing for our community. As for the Bharat Drive, well, the main purpose of the drive is to showcase how much our infrastructure has improved, what all over the years we've built and how that is changing India every day. In our leg, we have come to Munnar, like I mentioned earlier, but the most interesting part begins today. When we go from Munnar towards Kanyakumari, after a while we hit what is called the North-South corridor. It's a very long road that connects Srinagar all the way down to Kanyakumari at the southern tip of India. It's day 2 of the AJAI Bharat Drive. Couldn't have been a more stark contrast compared to what day 1 was like. So yesterday was a total washout. Right from the time I landed in Coimbatore, it was raining heavily. And all through the route, there was heavy rain, there was light rain, there was a lot of fog. And we had to drive through one tiger reserve and a reserve forest, the Annamalai Tiger Reserve. Roads were narrow, but they were well maintained. There was hardly any waterlogging and we didn't face any issues. And the contrast is also today, we were expecting Munnar to also be inundated with rain, but it's not. It's the exact opposite of yesterday. It's bright, it's sunny, the clouds are out, the weather's beautiful, and you can't beat the view of Munnar with its tea gardens and just the green area surrounding you. Today's plan is to head out of Munnar, bypass Madurai, and go all the way down to the southern tip of India to Kanyakumari. We'll be using the North-South corridor in that, which is a very significant piece of highway. I'll tell you more about that while we're driving. It's early morning on day 3 of the Bharat Drive in association with Mahindra and JK Tires. And as you can see, despite the torrential rain yesterday, we made it to Kanyakumari late at night. We got up early morning to see if we could get as close to the tip of Kanyakumari, and this is the best that we can do. And you can see behind me the Vivekanand Rock Memorial, and on the other hand, the statue of the great Tamil poet Thiruvalluvar. One thing I realized being on the north-south corridor, it's a road that connects right from Srinagar down to Kanyakumari, is that despite the torrential rain, the highway is so good and so well created. We didn't find any major issues, we didn't find any landslides, we didn't find any standing water, we didn't find any flooded areas. And while the area gets record rainfall, we were able to come down here easily. Now there's a lot of public here. This is a place that's very popular and people have started flooding in right from 5 a.m. to enjoy the sea, to enjoy the sights, to enjoy the sounds, to look at the memorials. So we won't have much time to talk here, but I'll get in the car and tell you more about the north-south corridor and how our journey has been so far. Coming back to the drive itself, what started the whole theme behind the Bharat Drive was to make our viewers aware of how much we've progressed when it comes to infrastructure, how we are developing towards a country that's much easier to drive in, much easier to travel in. Now let's talk about the stretch that we did. We started off in Coimbatore, again in the rain, and it was actually a pretty good stretch going through the Annamalai Tiger Reserve, another reserve forest. After that, onto Munnar. The weather didn't help, but the roads were really good. And that was one of the big things. Earlier, when it used to rain, especially in the quantity that is raining right now, you would have flooded roads, you would have broken roads, you would have potholes, you would probably have landslides, and none of that. We encountered none of that. Yeah, there were minor patches of standing water, but you could just clear them with ease. And that's a big difference because it gives you the confidence that even though it might be raining, I can travel in peace. The biggest stretch that we wanted to talk about was what was known as NH44, also referred to as the North-South Corridor. This was envisioned in 1998 and it was part of the North-South East-West alignment that was being done to create two large passageways that would enable the infrastructure to be better, which means that you could transport goods faster, which means that in cases of emergencies, supplies could be sent faster and people could travel faster. They could go from Hyderabad to Bangalore or from Agra to Gwalior or to Jhansi or to down to Bangalore without even thinking about it. They could travel all the way on this corridor from Srinagar to Kanyakumari. I've actually done that route, and I had to say, other than very small patches, the whole route itself is absolutely brilliant. It's a stretch that's over 4,100 kilometers, so that's a massive task. But in almost all of the stretch, you get a 4-lane road, service roads in many places, and a sort of surface quality and just a general sense of having world-class infrastructure. And that is a true sign of progress. Being able to drive peacefully long distances without fatigue, without having to worry about a million things, that's absolutely something that's brilliant, and that's something we are seeing across the country in different projects that have come up over the past 2.5, 3 decades. So I think that's something very important for us to realize and to enjoy this newfound infrastructure that we were denied for so long.